This is KGW News at noon.
Freezing rain, sleet, and snow are all making for treacherous conditions, and things will stay this way right through this evening. The few people who are out driving around right now are moving slow.
Yeah, we are seeing semi-trucks struggle to get on the Markham Bridge. Another semi slid off I-5 at the Nyberg exit. And this C-Tram bus needed some help to get going in Vancouver.
For people trying to fly out of town, it's even worse.
This morning I came and I make my line, and when I got there, they said, well, your flight been canceled.
I'm a little nervous. We've been planning this trip for 4.5 years, so a little nervous.
Most flights at PDX are canceled or delayed. The de-icing trucks just cannot keep up with this winter storm. It's paralyzing the Portland metro area.
Yes, and this winter storm is not done yet. We're in for more frigid cold temperatures today and more freezing rain.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. I'm Brenda Braxton.
And I'm Tim Gordon. We will get to the updated forecast from Chris McGinnis in just a moment. But first, here are where things stand at this hour.
Let's take a peek at this. TriMet shutting down all MAX service, and only the busiest bus routes are running right now. There's no streetcar service today either.
There are two major road closures right now to tell you about. ODOT has shut down I-84 in the Gorge, that's between Troutdale and Hood River, and the Astoria-Megler Bridge on the coast is also closed.
On a positive note, though, this noon, fewer people are without power. At last check, PGE reported 6,600 outages. Pacific Power and Clark PUD have some too, but they're much smaller.
We have got a lot to get to this noon, so let's get to our team coverage. Chris McGinnis starts us off. Chris, what can people expect over the next few critical hours?
Well, we're going to stay below freezing over the next few critical hours, especially here in the metro area. And by the way, to your point about I-84 and the Gorge being closed, on SR-14 on the Washington side, they do have some traction tire requirements for any vehicles headed out that direction. All right, radar over the last 2 hours. The pink means mixed precipitation, and at this point, predominantly freezing rain. Green means just plain old rain. We have warmed above freezing along the Oregon coast. Not the case yet in the Coast Range, and certainly not the case yet in the Willamette Valley. And as we go out just a little bit wider, I can show you that there is another little slug of moisture set to work its way onshore here as we go into the afternoon. So despite the precipitation has kind of hit a lull, I think. We'll probably see a little uptick in that as we head into the afternoon. For that reason, winter storm warnings continue for a good chunk of the central northern Willamette Valley. The winter weather advisory for the Southern Valley, by the way, set to expire in the next hour. But you folks down towards Salem, your winter weather or winter storm warning continues until 4. And here in the Portland, Vancouver metro area, the winter storm warning continues until 10 p.m. And you're probably asking, why so much later? It's because we don't anticipate temperatures getting near or above freezing until at least at the earliest 10 p.m. here in the metro area. Where we sit right now, 23 at PDX, it's 26 in Sherwood. As I mentioned, the coast has climbed above freezing, in some cases well above freezing. Tillamook's now 40. And Salem at last check is at 30. By the way, Eugene has just climbed to the freezing mark at 32. So we are starting to see the warmer air sort of erode the cold air that has infiltrated much of western Oregon this afternoon. But it's going to take a good while yet before that gets into the metro area. Folks have asked me, what do the coastal passes look like? Here's a quick check at Oregon Highway 6 at Lee's Camp. That's up just shy of 600 feet, just now above freezing. We go up to Highway 26. That is still an icy mess. Heading up over the Highway 26 coastal pass. So just know that while some folks begin to thaw out, others are a far cry from being able to do that. The live look from our Rose City Sky camera shows a slate gray sky, a little mist out there last check, 23 degrees at PDX. And the plan for this afternoon, I think the occasional freezing rain or drizzle picks up a bit here. The temperatures do climb, but you'll note here that throughout this part of our forecast, we are not near freezing, and guys, I don't think we get there in Portland until sometime later tonight. I'll walk you through that, have your Christmas Eve, Christmas Day forecast, and a look ahead to 2023 almost.
Oh, yeah, thank you, Chris. Well, there are a lot of frustrated passengers at PDX. The ice is too much for planes to safely take off and land. Today, more than 100 flights are already canceled. Evan Watson has been at PDX all day long. Evan, walk us through how things have changed since you got there early this morning.
Yeah, Brenda, we started today knowing that about 70 flights or so would be canceled at PDX. And as it stands right now, it updates every minute. More than 270 flights in and out of Portland have been called off, leaving a lot of flyers desperate to rebook or finding another way to travel for this holiday weekend. Alaska Airlines canceled all of its flights before noon today, and there are still some on for the rest of today, but also those could be in jeopardy as well. SeaTac shut down every runway this morning for de-icing, and they're now running on just one limited runway after de-icing that one up and trying to keep others online. We've seen long lines for customer service, but thankfully many people whose flights were canceled got early notice, so they stayed home. Travelers are balancing that mix of exasperation and hope that we've talked about today, and it's not all bad. I talked with this family of 29, yes, 29, from Albany. Their flight to Hawaii was delayed, but they seemingly made it through. It took off early this morning.
I feel very fortunate, I guess, seeing all of the cancellations. But we'll see. 4.5 years we've been planning it, so a little weather wasn't going to hold us back.
Other flyers, and I should say most flyers, were not as lucky. Elsie Echeverria said that her flight was canceled after she got to the airport early this morning. She said it almost brought her to tears. A big group of her family is gathering in Guadalajara for Christmas.
And they say, but we don't know when you can go, you can fly back where you're going. And I told them, I'm so sad because I'm supposed to spend time with my family in Mexico after 30 years. I haven't seen my family.
I learned as well that some TSA agents, a good amount of TSA agents, called out today, but really didn't make much of a difference. These are probably the least amount of security lines, the emptiest security lines you're ever going to see at PDX. No one's going through security because simply there aren't many flights going out. And I should say as well that when looking forward, the general outlook is you're probably not flying in or out of Portland today. Some flights are still on right now, but not a ton. So most people are trying to find other accommodations or seeing if they can get rebooked for the next couple of days. But being a busy holiday weekend, it might even be the 26th and 27th in some cases for the people that I've talked to here at the airport. Guys?
So, Evan, in the meantime, are they just planning to sleep there until they can get out or go back home?
Yeah, a lot of people, well, first off, a lot of people are home anyway, just waiting to see if they get rebooked or something else opens up. But people found out a flight's canceled and they're just trying to find out where else they can stay in Portland or staying with friends or going back home and staying home if they're flying out. Not a lot of people are arriving, so I guess that's all right for them because they're not trying to find extra accommodations that way. But there aren't too many people just sleeping around like you'd see in some of those previous delays we've seen across the country, because it isn't really delays, these are cancellations, right? So if it's canceled, then you're like, well, no reason for me to stay until I find out more information about a future flight.
All right, boy, that has been bustling since we went on the air this morning at 4:30. Evan Watson live at PDX. Thank you so much.
And the best advice for drivers is to stay home. Now, if you need to head out, take it slow. KGW's Devin Haskins is out in Drive 8 this noon. Devin, you've witnessed drivers struggle to get around in these icy conditions.
Yeah, right now we're in downtown Portland. So we spent most of the mornings on the highways and freeways circling Portland and up in Vancouver. So we decided to come into downtown Portland, and as you can see, the roads are snow covered. It's pretty indicative of what we saw all morning long on what pretty much every road looks like around the area. It is hills like this as you try and get your way up, like we're on Broadway right now, heading south. These small little hills causing problems, something we saw drivers struggle with, especially when they hit those icy patches.
From buses to shut down off and on ramps that were causing issues for big trucks. It was an icy and slick morning for what turned out to be a relatively quiet Friday morning commute. Around 8 a.m., a semi-truck crashed into a barrier, shutting down the Nyberg exit of northbound I-5 for hours. Then, just after 9 a.m., a double-trailer semi causing traffic to back up as it became stranded on the ramp leading to the Markham Bridge. We saw a few cars try to avoid the mess and back down the freeway on-ramp from McAdam Avenue and then take the downtown exit. Cars were held up for a bit and semis too, but eventually were able to get around it. The semi finally got moving around 10 this morning. Trucks weren't the only ones dealing with the icy roads. This C-Tran bus slid off the I-205 off-ramp to the 134th Avenue exit in the Salmon Creek area of Vancouver. This all happening around 6 o'clock this morning. The driver of the bus saying the freeways were fine, but once he hit the off-ramp, it was more of an ice skating rink than a road. Within an hour, that bus was able to hop a small curb and continue on its normal routes. No matter where we drove this morning, from I-5 in Tualatin to 217 northbound and over the Sunset Hill, the highways and freeways were a slow, snow-covered, icy drive.
All right, so back here live in Drive 8, we're in downtown Portland, as I said in the beginning of that. And as in downtown Portland, snow-covered roads. If you're curious to know kind of what the highways look like in your area, because ODOT has those covered on their Trip Check website, you can always check there. Or go to our website, kgw.com. We have all the traffic cameras listed there and any road conditions that you need to be aware of. This is something we will be covering all day long and into the weekend, too, as this snow slowly kind of turns into ice and then also slowly melts too. So this is not going away today. This will be something that we pay attention to. So for now, we're going to send it back to you guys.
All right, Devin, thank you. TriMet has suspended all MAX light rail service because trains are getting stuck in the ice. As for TriMet buses, only the busiest daily routes are running. Bryant Clerkley talked to riders this morning before service was suspended, and he joins us live from the Goose Hollow MAX station with the latest. Bryant.
Hey, Brenda. So yes, TriMet crews are working to get TriMet MAX trains restored, but with the weather and TriMet being short-staffed, it makes it really hard to do. And we were over at the at another transit center, a Gateway Transit Center, earlier this morning, speaking to people before the TriMet MAX trains were suspended. Some people were frustrated just with the delays, but a lot of the people we spoke to understood the situation, and they were just happy to have transportation.
A cold, windy, snowy, rainy start to the morning. On Friday, TriMet officials decided to suspend service to the MAX lines after a number of trains got stuck in the snow and ice. Bus services are also being reduced to primary routes with frequent service only.
And TriMet is in the midst of an extreme staffing shortage, and as you can imagine, with these weather conditions, it's hard for people to get into work. And so we have decided to temporarily suspend MAX service, but we will work to restore it.
At the Gateway Transit Center, before TriMet suspended service to MAX trains, Darden Bynum was heading home after trying to help his friend get to the airport via the MAX.
It's run to here, to this last transit center before the airport, and stopped because they can't go any farther.
TriMet buses were shuttling people from the Gateway Transit Center to the airport. They were running with heavy-duty chains, which prevents them from going over 25 miles per hour. Dominique caught the MAX to the Gateway Transit Center and then went to work. He was bundled up and prepared for the cold.
I'm really like a hot person, so I'd rather be in the sun somewhere bathing or something, but I would just say bundle up, wear extra sweater. I got 2 sweats on, if you can see.
Dominique said his trip from Gresham to the Gateway Transit Center had a bit of a delay, but nothing he wasn't ready for.
I mean, TriMet is really kind of like consistent as far as like keeping up on the weather updates. So honestly, it's not really too bad. It's just a little bit of a delay. Probably got to get up a little bit extra earlier sometimes or something.
And people should check TriMet's website to see when these trains will be in service again. One is running behind me now, but it says not in service. So people just need to check the TriMet website to see when things will be back in service. Brenda?
Yeah, it's a great resource, really comprehensive. Bryant, thank you.